Blessings, blessings, blessings. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, good night, and good overnight, whatever the case may be, whenever you are watching today's show. I'm your host, the one and only Mr. LP, and welcome to Enliven Global Media Podcast, where we try to have good, enlightening conversations, wonderful information, whatever else we can do. And I just thank you so very much for joining us today. Today, we're going to have a great show where we're going to talk a lot of different things about a lot of the upcoming news, current news. And some of it may be upcoming, but, Voices Unheard is the title of today's podcast, where there's so many different things that needs to go on, some stories that we need to tackle that some of it has been mentioned, some of it has not. And also where we can, maybe offer a different angle, light, whatever it may be from current stories that you may have heard about already. But before we continue on, as always, we have lovely co-hosts along that I'm just so honored to have join us. First and foremost, we have Miss Kemanta. How are you doing today?
I'm fine. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, trying to make the world go around and everything else. But, I'm doing what I can. Maybe, I just thank you so much for taking time out. You delayed your personal flight out to the Caribbean and to sit with us today. So I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Okay, not a problem. And next on the list over here, the lovely Miss Anika Walston, author. Walston. How are you doing today?
I'm great. Hi, Miss Camante. I'm having a wonderful day. No complaints. I'm smiling.
Awesome. Well, I thank you very much. Well, as today we're going to dive into some stories that matter most, that spark dialogue, change perspective, and inspire, action. Tonight we're unpacking critical issues shaping our world and our communities, from alarming decline of Black and Hispanic students in law schools to the troubling rollback, of DEI policy and roles affecting Black professionals. We're also discussing nurse shock about newborns in Virginia, Benin's groundbreaking citizenship initiative for dysphoria, and BET's powerful new program, American Black. We're also trying to shed some light about Black transgenders individuals, heartbreaking case of Jahnay Bryan, who's still missing, unfortunately, and decision, which actually is not really surprising, but her decision that deserved more attention. Headlines out there, and so we're just going to get on into we got some background noise. Who is out there doing this to me? Okay, all right, we're good. Okay, so first and foremost, have y'all heard about the situation with the nurse?
No.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, all right. Well, for those who don't know, I'm going to play the video news clip and let people be familiar with it and what's going on. It's a little heartbreaking, so viewer discretion advised.
Because then whatever that was done in the dark comes to the light, and sometimes you don't necessarily want to know what was done.
Dominique Hackey, the father of one of the Henrico doctor's NICU babies, found to have broken bones in 2023, concerned that it has taken so long for justice.
I remember her being in the room. She was friendly. She answered questions, but she didn't stay and talk like the other NICU nurses did. She wasn't family like the other NICU nurses were.
He's describing 26-year-old Erin Strotman, the nurse now in jail, charged with felony child neglect and felony malicious wounding, related to a different baby in 2024. Strotman was put on paid administrative leave by the hospital for a year after the 2023 cases of NICU abuse came to light, and then was allowed to return in late 2024. Hackey saying the hospital should be held accountable as well.
Because that shouldn't have happened. If they were suspicious of some person enough to let them go, they shouldn't have brought them back. So that's on them. They failed. Simple.
HCA, the network that oversees Henrico Doctors Hospital, issuing this statement, saying in part it is shocked and saddened by this development in the investigation, and that the hospital is focused on continuing to care for its patients. Strotman was just fired from her job on Thursday, Henrico police arresting her that night. Henrico's Commonwealth's attorney, Shannon Taylor, says the investigation is not over and more charges could come as detectives continue to review NICU video footage.
We will continue to work on building cases if there is evidence present to build other cases to find if there's additional criminal culpability.
Families of some of the young victims from both 2023 and 2024 were present for Stroutman's arraignment, seen leaving the courtroom in tears, some hugging each other for comfort.
Thanks for watching. Stay updated about.
This is very heartbreaking.
Yes.
For this situation. Before I get going, this is just a situation. So just to be clear a little bit for it, but the nurse arrested after following allegations of abusing newborns under her care. This distressing incident has a thorough investigation by local authorities and healthcare regulators to ensure the safety and well-being for most vulnerable patients. Healthcare facility involved is fully cooperating, and measures are being implemented to prevent such occurrences in the future. Ms. K. Monte?
So for me, it is frustrating because she was a employee at one point, and then you let her go, and you brought her back. So I'm not sure if they were aware or had suspicion of her not being the type of nurse that they needed, that a friendly nurse, as the young father said in the NICU. I know that when you are in special units like that, there's a certain personality and warmth that you need to also embody with your knowledge and from your education and your experience. So for me, to bring someone back that you let go and to find out that this nurse has been the culprit of hurting babies, that's a little disheartening for me. And I hope that all of the babies are going to be okay. They don't have any problems with, with having broken bones. And I hope that she does get the fullest extent of punishment, because babies don't ask to be here. They have no way of defending themselves. And that was a cruel and malicious act. So, and I know if Shannon Taylor, who's the DA, I know if Shannon Taylor's on that, she's gonna go. She doesn't care about creed, culture, color. She's going to definitely. This is a high profile case. She's definitely going to go for the maximum. So I do have a peace of mind of knowing that Shannon Taylor is going to be taking care of this, because she's just that type of person that will do what she says and says what she does. So,
got you. Miss Nika.
So I guess first of all, just as a mother, I immediately start to think. I'm always asked, like, is there good in everybody? And we want to so believe there's an ounce of something that makes somebody, have some sort of good. But when you have an individual who absolutely has no consciousness of life, let alone the life that's already struggling, it's beyond disheartening for me, because what is going on in your mind that you would think to hurt somebody already defenseless, but suffering just to make it through? There's some people that there's no good in them. And the fact that they show who they are, and I don't know what powers that be thought it was okay to not only suspend her or let her go for a while, then you make sure she was able to live on a wage, and then brought her back. Like that whole, it's bigger than her, because I would love to know who was running the hospital, what care facility is that you can make that decision. We're supposed to have all type of licensed professionals. So who evaluated that case? Who evaluated and determined that it was going to be okay for her? Let's just do this. Send her away. I heard nothing of rehabilitation. I heard nothing of consequences. I heard nothing of how were the parents, compensated, not necessarily money for this, because you can't get that back. Bones broken in the NICU. So we focus on her, but there's monsters bigger than her as far as I'm concerned, because people have a fit if you run over a dog. Okay, you can get, like, in the state of Virginia, 10 years for hitting a dog or killing an animal. But you're telling me y'all just now pressing charges? It's not just her. It's the people who said it was okay for her to do it. That's my opinion.
The thing about it is that there needs to be a change within it, as with this overall, that, like you said, for this to continue on, and it's gotten national news and attention, but this never should have happened in the first place. Some level of culpability, I'm sorry, not some, all of it, the administrators and people in charge need to be honest, just to be fired. You can't, we've seen people fired for suspicions of small things, taking $5 from a register, even though you didn't, or whatever the other case. We've seen people let go for petty things, but you let a woman come back to a situation like this. Now, I understand that you have the nurses union and you try to do the whole thing of, like, you're not guilty by association, or you shouldn't be guilty until proven innocent. I get all of that. But when it comes to the lives of babies, of all things, you cannot take chances like this. You have to ensure that everything's on top notch. There's just some things you just can't say, oh, well, we'll fix it next time. Can't do it while we're on a plane flying. You can't do it. There's some things you just can't miss. Pilot, police, nurse. And it's stressful. You always on. And we get it. And this is not to diminish any of these nurses. And God knows the stress. Then when you target specifically, in most of these cases, if not all, babies of color, especially Black babies, what does that say about you? They hurt the innocent. They can't defend themselves, can't speak. And you want to do that? That's just as much of a crime as you see mothers, they make excuses, but you smoking while pregnant, drinking while pregnant, doing all these other things. I take great offense that mothers who are trying to be mothers, but you're not doing everything you can to cleanse yourself before you try to be a mother. Like spend a year not drinking, smoking, whatever, exercising, then look to get pregnant. What is just wrong? Ms. Kamante, what are some things you think we should do to try to prevent this in the future from happening?
Well, I truly believe that nurses need to undergo psychiatric testing, just like they do for police officers and firefighters. I do think that they do need to go under that type of testing before they are hired. Also, with the state of the world and just the manner that things have happened, and people's personalities and some of them, their mental health challenges that were probably more innate within them, it hadn't bubbled over, is now starting to rear its ugly head, where a lot of things are starting to come to surface with some people. And so I think that not only should there be testing or in the beginning, but I think that periodically there should be mental health testing as well. Definitely the hospital needs to recognize and understand that when you have that innate or gut feeling of letting someone go, you have the proof. Why are you going to bring them back? And then, of course, definitely we don't know what the circumstances were when she was first let go, why they kept her on the payroll. But definitely if someone is suspended, especially in a hospital setting, and there is a notion of violence against a patient, I definitely think that they need to look into not being able to make it comfortable for that employee to still be able to live on. I'm just going to keep it real. I mean, I don't want to take anybody's dollars out their pockets, but if you're hurting children, patients, people who are sick, I don't feel that the need of them keeping them on the payroll. That should be a suspended pay. You still have your job legitimately, but suspended pay. I don't think she understood the depth of what she did, and they brought her back, and she thought she could get away with it. So HCA definitely is going to. They definitely need to be held accountable for that, and I see that I see a big lawsuit coming for them. Just definitely I need people to be held accountable, and let's stop turning our head when it comes to mental health, because this is a breakdown of something that has happened to her mentally beforehand. Is she, it's something that needs to be looked into further. And of course, yes, she does need help. So not only just throwing the book at her, but also, we need to throw some care to her as well, because we need to find out what's going on. Something has happened to this young lady where she feels that it's okay to abuse children and babies, people who don't have like that. So definitely,
There's something going. Can you hear me?
I can hear.
Yes. Yeah, there's something going on your end, Miss Anika. Sorry.
My end?
Yeah, is a fan blowing somewhere or
No, there's nothing going on.
so why is there? Okay, I don't know where that's coming from. I'm sorry.
Can you still hear like background or something?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I can. Want me to log out and come back in?
Oh, no, that's no problem. No, it comes and goes. We'll make it. Go ahead and please tell us your thoughts, Queen.
Well, I absolutely agree with the psychological evaluation. And then I do like to take in consideration that a lot of people work in stressful environments. Police officers, nurses, caregivers, I understand that. So one of the nice things that I learned when I first started practicing is that therapists need therapists. The therapists need therapists. So if the therapists need therapists, let's not believe that others that carry on the stresses of others do not also need some form of therapy. Even if it's monthly check-ins, evaluations, meetings, some type of circle of support for those who are in these stressful situations. We put so much money into other different entities of a business. If you're going to have a pizza party, sit down and check on the nurses. Like, they come in, they work 12, 16 hours. They got 5, 6 different patients. The conditions, we don't know. We don't work in the hospital. So if support can be given to nurses, then that would be wonderful. Have mental health support on site. The only problem, and this is an opinion, this is not me even being objective, I'm still having a struggle with this young lady. I get her mental health, but there's a sense of evil in that. I get it. I'm sorry. There is extremely defenseless children. I'm not saying abuse any child, but sometimes you have to just call a spade a spade. Just sometimes you just ain't no good. And I am sorry. When you have enough gump to do that, I don't care how psychologically impaired you are. Number one, you shouldn't be working in the field. And number two, somebody should have had enough fortitude to know that something was wrong with you. Like, you became a nurse, you had to build rapport, you had to have conversations, you had to socialize. So she's going home by herself with these bad habits, this mental health, and nobody sees this. Nobody rung the alarm. Like, everybody knows that they got a crazy Uncle Jack. And you say, oh, it's not wrong with him. He's just crazy. You're telling me nobody knew that young lady would hurt babies? Well, if it's not babies, she hurt somebody. She did something. She was abused somewhere, and nobody. Like, we need to, number one, hold some of our homes accountable. And that, like, we need to be aware of our family members. We need to be aware of our friends, understand the how things are exacerbated by symptoms and other things that go on in people's life. But I'm still going to go on the side of, yeah, there's no good in her, because it is my emotion, it is mine, and I'm going to just stand in it.
Right.
Can't hear you, Stephen.
Can't hear.
I'm sorry. I thought I put it in there and pressed the button. Excuse me. All those things are very true. Background checks, things like that. But we also need verification checks, more detailed things. Definitely psychological evaluations, surveillance systems, more tighter within the hospitals, a more 24/7 surveillance system. If you can spend all this money for loss prevention inside restaurants and retail stores, you can do the same thing for hospitals. Audit, spot checks. Somebody should be going back around, just like how we do all these checks now to make sure that these babies are not switched accidentally by birth. You can do the same thing for the babies here. Reporting mechanisms, especially in NICU units. I think there should be more round-the-clock check and care, not just with one person. Pay the nurses. Just pay the nurses. It should not be that hard. And more care regarding towards these nursing groups, hiring practices. So then that way they're not having these problems and just hiring anybody just to fill a spot. Trauma-informed practices, equip staff with knowledge and about trauma care to better support their patients and families. So that care and concern can be provided, because there's not just the nurse aspect, the child in the hospital, but these families are suffering too. We do not know lifelong what could happen down the line. Of course, we're praying against it, but these things happen to linger along the life of the child, and these things can happen. Stricter licensing requirements. We may not need to have reciprocity per state. I know that's going to sound evil, and some nurses may not like that, but we need to have more things like this discussion, strengthening the laws requiring immediate reporting of abuse and authorities, all these different things, because this is just going too far, and we need to have more discussions about this. The next issue that we need to discuss, and this is another heartbreaking issue, the case of Jahnay Bryan, the young lady that is missing, and this is just terrible. But I'm going to play the video for this for those who are not aware.
It has been more than 4 weeks since 23-year-old Cornell graduate Jahnay Bryan was reported missing by her sister. The family is worried that she may be in urgent danger. Her sister's going to join us in a minute, but this is a serious missing persons case you might not have heard about. It's getting a fraction of the attention and coverage we've seen, for example, compared to missing Hawaiian woman Hana Kobayashi, who it turns out wasn't even really missing. Jahnay was last seen the morning of October 16th near the 2000 block of West 8th Street, according to the Los Angeles Police Department. This young, beautiful woman graduated from Cornell University last year, moved back home with her mom in Pennsylvania. Over time, Jahnay slowly lost touch with people she was closest with in her life, which was concerning, given Jahnay had previously shared a fear of something happening to her. So in April, her sister had police perform a wellness check on the home she was living in with her mom. Police didn't find anything wrong. Jahnay and her mom were there. But in August, Jahnay apparently emailed her ex-boyfriend saying, "Gone for the last few months, back moving to a new city Monday, bye." Months later, she seemingly sent another email to him writing, "I think we should get married and I think we should work in industry. I was just in contract with the commissioner of the Department of Water Management in a city. It's a brilliant idea." It's sort of an unclear email. But that was Janay's last known communication. It's also the same day she was last seen. Jahnay was reported missing on November 13th, shortly after the LAPD issued what they call an ebony alert. Family very concerned for her well-being. Joining us now is Janay's sister, Jahnay Bryan Gooden. Jahnay, thank you very much for being here. Appreciate it. All right, so what do you know? I mean, here we are 4 weeks later. You reported, more than 4 weeks, you reported her missing. What do you know?
Yes, thank you for having me. I want to say that I know a lot, and I have essentially spent all my time, as well as with her friends, putting together a master timeline, trying to make sense of what's going on. And at this point, to know that it's been more than 2 months, it is incredibly tiring and frustrating that no matter how much I know, it seems like it's incredibly slow to move on getting any proof. For example, I know that my sister has now been spotted over 9 times in the LA area. People have confirmed and accurately described her. They've described what she's wearing, and every time the description is consistent. I also know that the places my sister was last seen, there's actual CCTV footage, and I have requested from the detectives to access that footage. And so I haven't received any update in regards to looking at the footage. I don't know if they have been successful in receiving the footage. It got to one point where I thankfully had time to go to LA with the support of Black and Hispanic Foundation, and I stood at the same block that my sister was reportedly last seen at and last staying at. And I looked up and there's a camera. And so I said, is there a way that I can get this footage? And thankfully, the manager at the store said to me, well, if the detectives request it, I have no problem handing it over, right? Which is, you know, we're fortunate for that, because oftentimes people say, look, our footage ends here, right? Like, this is the window we have. So to know that he was willing to give this up, you know, I clung on to hope. And so I reached out to the detective on my sister's case and I said, hey, is it possible you could review this? And then she said to me, you know, we don't have the capacity to look through all that footage. So I need a specific time. I need a specific day. I need to know what she was wearing. And I don't know any of that because I don't live in LA, right? And I wasn't the one that saw her.
So let me ask you this. You know, we covered this case of Hana Kobayashi, and my point in introducing this segment is to say that, you know, there's no reason this case shouldn't be getting as much or more attention than a case like that one got. But in that case, it turned out she had just left on her own volition, right? Are you confident that she didn't just leave and just, you know, want to go and start a new life or move on, et cetera?
Yeah, that's a great question. So if I'm being very honest, initially, you know, I figured, okay, you know, maybe my sister and my mother were both starting a new life. And so I respected, you know, the time that they needed and whatever was happening. But what's incredibly odd and where I am confident is knowing that my sister had a podcast. She was on social media. She had LinkedIn, right? And especially when we think about that she had just graduated from Cornell and had all these ambitions, it is incredibly unlike her to just completely go off the grid. And so that, as well as a call that was received that really kind of put more fire under my feet, was indicating that my sister could be in danger. And so I did share that with the detectives. And those two things I am certain of, right? That she was definitely staying with someone who could put her life in danger. And also that it is very unlike her to just disappear off of all social media platforms.
Well, I think that the point you just made there is an important one, that she's apparently, at least a witness indicates, with someone who may have put her life in danger. All right, Jahnay Bryan Goodman, we put out the word, we put out the pictures. They've been up throughout this whole segment. So if anyone has seen her, please make the call. That is, the number is up there on the screen, and there it is. So good luck. We'll be following the story. Thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
This is a really troubling case. Let me give you a little bit more information in case anybody missed it. Jahnay Bryan is a 23-year-old graduate of Cornell University, class of 2023. Last known sighting was October 16th of 2024 around 9 a.m., 2000 block of West 8th Street in Los Angeles. The day of her appearance, Jahnay sent an unusual email to her ex-boyfriend expressing a sudden rise desire to get married and work in the industry, and her family found her a little bit out of character. Delayed reporting, didn't get anything until November 13th, after weeks of no contact. A Benin alert was issued, designed to help locate Black youth. It was issued November 19th, 6 days after the family reported her missing. Family concerns have previously expressed fears about going missing, making her disappearance particularly alarming to the family. Former State Senator Stephen Bradford and Black and Hispanic Foundation have actively involved in search efforts throughout LA, especially right now with the fires. God knows if there's information out there, and heaven forbid if evidence is possibly burned. Just don't know. They have no significant information or updates prior to the disappearance. She had limited communication with her family. Her mother has not been involved in search efforts. Public appeal. community assistance, and what have you. Ms. Anika, your thoughts?
That's a hard one.
Tell me about it.
That's really a hard one, because if people have spotted her and they have notified the sister, is no one, like, when they see her or spot her, or like, wouldn't they be saying someone's looking for you? And I'm not saying she's not missing. I'm just saying there's like patches here that I'm not understanding. And why is the mother missing also? Because
No,
I
she's
heard
just not involved.
Not involved in her child being missing.
Correct. Well, not involved in the search efforts, and apparently they had a strange relationship.
Okay, I'm still not. I don't know. So then the boyfriend, he's not involved either.
No.
He
Not
got
at
the
all.
last 2 text messages, and they seemed hopeful. So he didn't worry. He didn't, like. I don't know. I guess it would be easy to call foul play. I just don't have enough evidence to say so. Because if it has been on TV, if it has been reported, and people have actually seen her, that's one thing. And then if she really doesn't want to be bothered, but she's being cited, is that her way of saying I don't want to be? But I don't know. There's a lot of. I'm not gonna. If she's missing, I hope she is found.
There's a lot of the family has been expressing. There's been a strained family dynamics with this. She had minimal contact with the mother, barely. No text messages in weeks prior. And there's been a disconnect between her and her mother that's been profound, falling out. And
where's the phone? They can't track phones. Is that not like
if you don't got it on you, you can't track it?
What do you mean if you don't have it? So the last text she had, did anybody try to ping this phone? Like,
yeah, I guess from the last, that was a location where she last was in LA. After that, nowhere. No phone.
So like you said, could she have been a part of, the things that are happening right now? But I don't, Miss Camonte, I don't know. I don't know.
Yeah, it's a lot to unpack here, and there's not a lot to unpack. I mean, it's just it's a very peculiar and painful situation.
I'm puzzled why the mother. I'm a little puzzled because that's your child, and I know relationships can become, strained. We don't know what the back story to this really is, what really truly happened, but I would need to question the mother and the boyfriend a little bit more. I definitely feel an instinct that something is off with her mental health. If she has been seen, which if that is true, why didn't someone call and say that I just spotted this young lady? The efforts of and I, I'm never one to flicker my tongue, but we have to be more accountable for our Black girl magic. Okay. This needs to be dealt with and handled on a higher level federally. It's a lot of Black girl magic out here that's missing and don't get the attention and the necessary commandeering of the media to put the spotlight on our missing cases. So this right here is just, it's layer after layer of what coulda, shoulda, woulda been, or have, or however you want to put that. But at the same time, I'm kind of questionable of the mother and the boyfriend and the people who say they saw her. Who was she living with? That
she was by herself.
She was living by herself. So again, that's drawing me to mental health.
But they said she was with somebody who might make her scared too.
I'm kind of trying to understand who is that person if it's not the boyfriend.
And how do you know that? how do you know that how she might be in danger? She looks like, so if
Right.
she might be in danger, it does not. I'm going back to mom and boyfriend because I've seen where people have horrible relationships.
Yep.
But if something happens, it triggers you. Number one, it's just innate. But a boyfriend, we want to get married and run off together, and then we're not concerned that you haven't spoken to your girlfriend. No, I'm sorry.
Well, they weren't together. She just randomly texted him out the blue.
That's even more suspicion.
What? They were together?
No, they were exed. It was her ex, and then she'd say, "Hey, let's get married."
Okay. Let's go back. So they weren't together as a couple. And the last two text messages that they have that she gave were to him, and they were, "Let's be happy together."
The last two messages was to we want to get married and let's work together in the industry.
Nope. No.
Something's not right. That's a red flag for me.
And they didn't go question, check, do anything, nothing with that.
And what's mind-boggling for me is that don't they have the capability of pinging her phone?
Right. Apparently she don't have her phone with her. It's not with her.
But when
they pinged the messages.
Okay, so when she actually sent those text messages, did they have a way of pinging the phone to see where she last was?
Well, yeah, at her home.
At her home.
And that's when she sent it. Right.
Okay.
That sounds like boyfriend though. And so I'm going to have to agree with Kamante that, like y'all just washed your hands of that. Y'all didn't go investigate that. Where is the black girl magic? Like I thought there was someone, you said there was an Ebony alert, but apparently there wasn't. And who was the family that alerted?
It's a Ebony alert, yes. That's been put out there, but there's nothing else from it. And they put it out there. So
okay, so the sister, no one went to go talk to the boyfriend after they had discovered the last person she had contact was the boyfriend.
Correct. And apparently he was either at work or at home or wherever when he received it. He sent, and then when that text message was through, I guess when she went missing, he sent the information. This is all I know.
2 text messages. 2.
Right.
And this, let me go ahead and send y'all this because this is what I have. That doesn't sound like wrong. Y'all didn't text in between that. You didn't respond to her. You didn't say anything back to her when she texted that. Like, what's going on with you? Where did this come from? We've been broken up.
Yeah, that was out of nowhere. Like that literally was out of nowhere. So that right there is suspicious enough to say something's off. Why didn't you call the sister or anyone to make them aware of the unbalanced text message of just getting married out of nowhere and they're not together?
Exactly. So I'm going to play this little clip of a update from the news cycle that they had, and this is not much more information than that, but hopefully maybe it's something.
Okay.
Hi there, I'm Marnie Hughes from our Missing series. It's been weeks since Los Angeles police have given any sort of update on the search for Jahnay Bryan. The missing 23-year-old Cornell graduate was last seen on October 16th. Her family says she recently moved to Los Angeles, cut off communication with her friends and family. Her last known contact was an email to her ex-boyfriend. Her family has been frustrated with the lack of media coverage. Jahnay disappeared right around the same time as Hannah Kobayashi, but they say that she hasn't been covered nearly as much. They have now teamed up with the Black and Missing Foundation to organize community search efforts and also pressure police for more information. If you can help, contact the LAPD Missing Persons Unit.
I have a question. Hannah Kobayashi, but were they in school together?
No.
Any of that?
No. It's just that's just been the most recent high-profile case. So basically, white or heavily biracial, maybe even other Asian cultures get more, whoever the more popular person on social media or whoever they feel is most attractive or anything outside of Black and Latino don't get the attention in cases. And so the families are set, if she looked a certain way or she was something else, probably you'll see him on CNN, Fox, whatever. But let it be a missing white girl from Cornell. That's what they're trying to say without saying it.
Okay, so that's what this is about. This is about the attention that young Black girls don't get when they are missing that other races do.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
All right. I'm going to go on to the next news story that we need to cover. Sadly, there's been an extreme decline with massive Black and Hispanic school students in law school, not just in the major ones, but in large ones. I'm going to play the clip for this for those who are not maybe aware. It shouldn't be the case right here, but it is what it is. What's going on?
Harvard Law School this fall has hit a 60-year low. That means the number of Black freshmen at Harvard Law is at about the same level it was when the Civil Rights Act of 1964 was passed. The drop comes after the Supreme Court decision ended race-based admissions. NBC 10's Malcolm Johnson joins us from Harvard with reaction from students and the university. Malcolm, this seems like it could have an impact on the fairness of our justice system across the United States.
I think that's a fair assessment to make, Glenn. There have generally been between 50 to 70 Black students in Harvard's first year law class, but this fall, it was only 19.
For me, it was a dream to be I did not even think that I could go to an institution like this.
Attending Harvard Law School is a major milestone for students. Some of the nation's most prominent Black lawyers, including the Obamas, Justice Ketanji Brown Jackson.
I had a wonderful colleague when I worked at the Legal Defense Fund.
And former Governor Deval Patrick are all graduates.
Maybe we'll be those people. Who knows? You never know.
But this fall, only 19 Black students entered, following last year's Supreme Court decision ending race-based admissions. It's the lowest number since the 1960s, according to the American Bar Association.
Being the only face you see in a class or one of a couple is a huge difference for first years in their actual experience.
I have felt the lack of diversity and the lack of Black and brown faces on this campus, since the middle of August.
The limited amount of Black students in law school in general or professional schools, you're going to have a bigger proportion just by going here because it's a bigger school. And now our school is still big, but there's just less Black people, so it's just strange.
A spokesperson with the law school says the conclusions that can be drawn from 1 year of data are necessarily limited. We continue to believe that a student body composed of persons with a wide variety of backgrounds and experiences is a vital component of legal education.
It's definitely noticeable, and it's something that I think the university in the future will probably account for, and hopefully next year we can have more Hispanic and Black students.
And Hispanic students are also noticing the decline as their enrollment, JC and Glenn, has gone down to 39 from 63. We are reporting at Harvard University. I'm Malcolm Johnson, NBC 10.
Let me give you a little bit more information regarding this, so bear with me before we go further. I might answer some additional questions that you may have. The law school in 2027 includes only 19 Black students, which they've talked about 43 from the previous year. Similarly, Hispanic enrollment decreased from 63 to 32. It's mirrored across other top-tier institutions, raising alarms about the future diversity of legal profession. Experts warn of potential cascade effect, where decreased representation at elite schools may lead to broader disparities in the legal leadership roles. In addition, in 2019, Black students made up 7.57% of incoming law students, down from 7.91 in 2018 from the last major review. In addition, from 2009 to 2016, first-year Black students matricularly dropped 7.8%. Graduation rates in 2023, Black African American students comprised only 7% of law degrees throughout the U.S. The gap between white and Black law graduate bar exam scores have widened in recent years. They try to say that there weren't that many applicants, but we know that's a lie. Black law students also have a higher attrition rates compared to other groups. In 2016, students of color made 30% of first-year law students, but almost half, 44% of attrition. So now when they get into law, what are you doing to the students? So the abuse that tells me. Black graduates also have the lowest first-year bar exam pass rate at 57% in 2022, down from 61 in 2021. Some of the factors they also include was in racial representation within a state where law school is located, positively related to graduation outcomes of Black students overall, which we know that's been a troubling spot, and especially in all schools, but especially in the South. Faculty of color is significantly related to graduation rates of Black students. We see a rise of Black students not finishing school, college, and also even graduating from high school. And of course, financial aid, tuition rates, what have you, is a big role as well. It's bad enough to graduate, much less, pay for law school. And you're looking at another $200,000. Ms. Monte, your thoughts on this?
So I'm going to go with this. First and foremost, we all know that law school, becoming a doctor, anything of a profession of that manner, where you have to put in those years and time, you can't get your time back. You definitely got to pay that money back. And the way that we're heading politically, judiciously, I'm thinking that there are a lot of black people out here who feels like, what's the purpose of me going to even put my time and money into this when whatever case, and I'm not saying that they should give up hope, but a lot of people are thinking, what's the point? What's the point? What's the point of me going and exuding all of my time and money into a system that is not going to change? It's actually getting worse. So I'm thinking that that's a thought process with a lot of our Black and Hispanic students. You see this, it's not saying white students, it's saying Black and Hispanic students, and who actually are the people who are mistreated, and the book is thrown at heavily, is Black and Hispanic people. So my guess is to say that some of these younger generation, they're a lot more feistier than we are, and they have a different spirit about what's going on. They're fighters, like literally fighters, in the sense of not the John Lewis good trouble, but just trouble is trouble. So I'm thinking that because of where we are judiciously in America, I'm thinking that they're not trying to put that time and that money into a system that is not going to help them be the bearer of great news, good news, other than bad news. That's just where I stand with it. Should you give up? No, but if you look at it, is it something else that you possibly can do in your life where you are able to give back to this world and in your community? Maybe it's something different out there for them that they see that I see it in that manner. Just simply put.
All right. Miss Anika?
I think it's funny that you mentioned like John Lewis, because I agree with just about everything you say, Ms. Camonte, because beyond just not believing in the justice system, think about what they had to do in the justice system to become lawyers. So the stress and pain and gripe and racism of just going to class every day, having to be better than your peers in everything you do, and increasing your levels of stress, increasing debt, already placing you in a position where you're already probably depressed, overwhelmed, and might be suicidal. And I'm going to do all that to do what? Help a system not help me any more than what they're doing. And I don't need data or research. I can turn on a TV. So I'm going to go get in debt. Why don't I learn how to not get in debt? Why don't I learn how to create what it is that I have? Hopefully we're going into business. Here's the thing, that we're not in the generation of John Lewis where you think you can spit on me and throw things at me and I'm just going to make good trouble. I'm going to make something, but it might not be good to you.
Right.
Okay. So I think how we're looking at stuff, I see the decline. I understand there is supposed to be a concern. We are not going to have enough Black lawyers. The justice system is just them, not us. So I have no more faith in these things. We're going to follow these laws and whatever, but let's just be honest. The justice system is for those who can line their pockets, get what they want, do whatever evil they determine. Can you imagine going to law school, learning all the laws to go up against a case from somebody that you know is guilty? How do you think Alvin Bragg felt after he proved his case, only to have when the sentencing came, you get a slap on the wrist, but I've thrown 3,000 people in jail for things that you've done less? That's a Black man who went to law school. So I hear the decline and I understand we need to be concerned. Find another field. I'm okay with it.
I agree in principle, but I'm also looking at this thing of the legacy, not about, okay, hey, we got all these Black kids need to go to school and we don't have, it's more to it, because we got to, again, protect our people and our kids and everything else in between. And without these lawyers to protect what's going on, that we know what's happening in the legal system, then who's at fault if we don't take care of our own? Part of taking care of our own is also being prepared. And fortune's favored the prepared, and especially in the legal world. We know it's not just criminal cases, family law, child support, business lawyers, entertainment lawyers, immigration, corporate, financial. We need these things. These are these other fields that are not talked about, and they're very impactful. The sad part about it is that we're not even encouraging our youth to become lawyers and preparing them financially in order just to save face, to say, hey, we got you. We're not even doing that anymore. So in one sense, yes, may not be, but I do believe that we've all seen it where some go to a degree, get it, and they may not like it. But I want to say, is reason to suspect, given the level of prestige and honor and everything else that goes to Harvard, Yale, Harvard, UPA, Princeton, William Mary, some of the UCLA, Stanford, UT, Northwestern, Michigan, all those major law schools, that you're not going to put your efforts into that and say later on after a year, oh, I don't want to do this. When you got a degree in pre-law, you did everything else, your LSATs, everything else, and not do this. You know what you're getting into. You know what you want. So I don't think it's a matter of people sitting there saying, I don't want to do this after a while. No, it's the aspect of we need to, there's more going on behind the scenes that's not being told and is not being reported and everything else. It's a problem. And it needs to be addressed. Like I said, we need lawyers in all different aspects of medical, just like we had in Virginia. Think about these Black families may feel comfortable with a Black lawyer. There are things that, just like how doctors that are more aware of certain things in Black health that others may not be aware. Not that they're looking to do something wrong or not be aware, but just saying information is information. and someone has it before the others, yes. And I'm not saying black lawyers only need black clients and white only need white clients. No, but representation matters. And despite what they may say regarding DEI or anything else, we need to have these things in order to be able to make society grow. Society will never win being homogenous. It's always going to be multicultural. It's always going to be cosmopolitan. And as soon as we have that and let go of some of the litigious nature that people are having towards it, the further we can grow as a society. Because if something happens, we're going to have to work together regardless of this color. And you're going to need us. You're going to need the laws. You're going to need the information. And as soon as we get better, the better we do. And things. It just has to be. The next topic of discussion, I'm sorry, any follow-ups to that?
I see what you're saying, but at the end of the day, I think the way the world is going, instead of them being in that aspect, like I said, this new generation, they see it from only their aspect. I think they're just saying, what's the point? What's the point? I think a lot of people have gotten into that mindset, especially when you're dealing with the statistics that show that the judicial system is not for us. So I think it's one of those things where
I agree. I see your point, Stephen, and you're absolutely right. We absolutely need representation. I don't think that we're going to lose representation because I believe that we are resilient. I believe that although we can see numbers, that does not mean we're defeated. I see and I understand that. However, I'm going to have to go back to while we're seeing, people are looking, watching, paying attention, and no longer can you tell us not to believe our lying eyes or whatever it is that they're saying.
But of course.
Yeah, but because you think about it, I remember that the Black Justice, Ketona, the last Black Justice. Yes. So I remember how they humiliated that woman who had to sit dignified while people questioned her. While you let someone get on a Supreme Court justice who has sexually assaulted someone and belittled that woman. So yes, if I'm watching this, there is a part of me that's going to say, why would I subject myself to that? It's the same thing that people think when women who get scared because they are raped and they know they are the ones who are victimized in that. People are no longer standing. We stood differently. We walked differently years ago because we wanted to be civil. We wanted to be a part of that. We don't have to be a part of those things anymore. People are making their own ways. Just because Harvard's numbers are down, we don't know what's in the making. This is not a stupid generation. They might have some things that we might be questionable, but pay attention. They're singing their own songs. They're creating their own hymns. And they're also being honest when sometimes we're not. It is what it is. They don't like us. They don't want us, but we still have to coexist. So we're going to do what we need to do while we coexist.
I agree. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And it needs to change. I don't think it's just a lot. It's not just Harvard. Like I said, it's around the nation. They just focus on that because Harvard was making a big strides in admitting and also review going back or have you. And it was something to be proud of. Now it's just whatever. And then now I'm still looking at it also for the fact of like, we need more of these federal judges. We need people, in the system. And the only way we go, yes, there's a level of feeling defeated after you seeing all this and what poor Justice Ketanji had to go through. That to say a sin and a shame doesn't give it justice. No person in the world, and on top of a black woman, but just no person in the world should have to go through that.
It was disgusting. It was disgusting.
Disgusting. And to see, you could not get, other than Marshall, you could not have had anybody say what you want about Biden. You could not have got a more qualified justice than that out there. Right. Okay. I just outside of the oh Lord Jesus, I forgot the other Hispanic lady.
Sotomayor,
yeah. Her,
yeah, I can't say the name. Yeah.
Yeah, Sotomayor and her are like
skill. Oh my gosh. Okay. I will not mess up someone's name, whatever one, because they're women and the other justices. So, but and then let's think about this. But they got their Clarence Thomas.
Yeah.
So,
yeah. But it's just the fact of the level, and Clarence didn't deserve that position. He's probably the weakest of all the judges and things. To look at what he did.
Right. It's a paid position. It's a paid position, and it's also an insult to us as Black people.
Yes.
Clarence Thomas is not an insult to them because he's in their pocket. He's an insult to us. And they did that on purpose. That was by design.
Yeah.
Right. Talk them down. That was a DEI hire.
If you want to dig deep into something, I need you to understand it's almost like Denzel getting the Oscar for Training Day. That is absolutely despicable. Mm-hmm. You follow Thurgood Marshall as a Black man. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like Trump following Obama. You got to have something. You got to throw something in our face. That is whoever even nominated Clarence Thomas should be set aside and put away, because that was disgusting for Black people. I don't care. I watched that as a young woman. Him and Anita Hill. I'm not. That is a smack in the face. That is giving us something. Oh, we got you one, and he in our pocket. But you're gonna disgrace the Black woman who has honor, dignity. Yeah, no. You think somebody's worried about going to law school? I don't know about anybody else's eyes, but no.
Fair enough. To go to the next subject, this is going to be a little bit fun for some. Michelle Obama is skipping. I will say lighter topic, but I don't know how to say lighter with this. But let's go with this. I got a lot to say regarding this one, but let the story fly here.
Insight into the possible reason why Michelle Obama will not be attending Donald Trump's inauguration on January 20th. According to People magazine, a source familiar with the former First Lady's thinking tells the outlet that Michelle wouldn't want to fake a smile on the day. People quotes the source as saying, "There's no overstating her feelings about Trump. She's not one to plaster on a pleasant face and pretend for protocol's sake. Michelle doesn't do anything because it's expected or it's protocol or it's tradition. She served in the public eye and did all the public good that she could for 8 years as First Lady. You'll see her when she has a project or cause to promote, but she doesn't feel the need to be a public figure anymore." The source also noted to People Trump's history of attacking the Obama family and making disparaging comments about people of color, a sentiment Michelle herself voiced while speaking at the Democratic National Convention last year.
Now, unfortunately, we know what comes next. We know folks are going to do everything they can to distort her truth. My husband and I sadly know a little something about this. For years, Donald Trump did everything in his power to try to make people fear us. See, his limited, narrow view of the world made him feel threatened by the existence of two hardworking, highly educated, successful people who happen to be Black.
Michelle did attend Trump's first inauguration in 2017. In an episode of the Light podcast, she spoke about the negative feelings she felt on that day.
After the inauguration, and we know whose inauguration we were at, that day was so emotional on so many different reasons. We were leaving the home we had been in for 8 years, the only home our kids really knew. They remembered Chicago, but they had spent more time in the White House than anywhere. So we were saying goodbye to the staff and all the people who helped to raise them. There were tears. There was that emotion. But then to sit on that stage and watch the opposite of what we represented on display. There was no diversity. There was no color on that stage. There was no reflection of the broader sense of America. And many people took pictures of me and they like, you weren't in a good mood. No, I was not. But you had to hold it together like you do for 8 years. And then you walk through the Capitol, you wave goodbye, you get on Marine One and you take your last flight off flying over the Capitol where there weren't that many people there. We saw it, by the way. And then we went to Andrews Air Force Base, said goodbye to the military, got on Air Force One, and when those doors shut, I cried for 30 minutes straight. Uncontrollable sobbing, because that's how much we were holding it together for 8 years.
The Office for the Obamas confirmed Michelle's plan to skip the inauguration in a statement that reads, former President Barack Obama is confirmed to attend the 60th inaugural ceremonies. Former First Lady Michelle Obama will not attend the upcoming inauguration. The news came just days after Michelle skipped another event where all the living presidents had gathered and where Michelle would have been seated next to President-elect Trump. Presidents Joe Biden, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, George W. Bush, and Donald Trump attended the funeral for former President Jimmy Carter. They were all joined by their spouses except for Obama. At the service, Trump and Obama were seated side by side. The two men were seen striking up a conversation that went on for a few minutes, the two even exchanging a few smiles and laughing. Historically, presidential funerals and inaugurations are occasions where former presidents and first ladies come together. But Trump broke that tradition when he refused to attend the inauguration for Joe Biden in 2021. Biden, Kamala Harris, as well as the other living presidents and their wives are expected at the inauguration, except for Michelle. No explanation has been officially given as to why she was not present for the funeral or why she won't attend the inauguration.
So not only is Michelle Obama not going to attend, Nancy Pelosi is not attending the inauguration as well.
Correct. How can we say I'm not here for the bullshit without saying I'm not here for the bullshit?
Basically.
Sorry, God help me.
True.
Ever since the nigga been back, I've been cussing. Lord forgive me. But I just like how just like you can't do it any classier and still this is the classic case of Black woman killing you, shading you, and still keeping it classy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just a masterclass of how to get the job done in public relations.
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a masterclass of how to tell you how you feel, and I didn't have to curse. I didn't have to shake my tail. I can still keep it classy. I feel like, the petitioners, Claire Huxtable, will be like, okay, I need to step aside. Not because she's first lady, it's just like how you carry yourself.
Right.
That is a masterclass. I'm just going to leave it at that. I didn't mean to go first. I'm so sorry. Please forgive me.
It's okay.
Who wants to go first?
I mean, I'm gonna piggyback on you. That was a classic way of saying I'm not with the BS. Okay, and it's no need to fake how you feel about Donald Trump. I need people to understand that we have every right to not be okay with what's going on in America, but we also have to remember that you have to have your faith in this day and time. What will be on January 20th. make sure that you don't turn on your TVs. You know, you can do so much on that day of not supporting him. You know, Nielsen ratings will go down that day if you just stick with the plan. Don't watch the inauguration. Don't look at the bull crap that's getting ready to happen on TV on Monday. Like, do something better with your time. Go out in your community and do something, you know, of service, because we already know that the next 4 years will not be of service for us. Okay. So, I mean, she did it in a classy way, but I'm going to put it out there. I'm not going to watch the inauguration. I'm not going to think about what's going on that day, because at the end of the day, it will be what it's going to be.
Anika?
Oh, okay. So I'm there's some days that I just don't have any desire to be classy. And you picked the part of the show I don't have to be. I already told my staff you are not getting that day off of work at all. All y'all better bring y'all asses to work if you want to keep a job, because we're not doing nothing outside of that. Okay. And I'm with the shit. I'm sorry. I just am. Michelle Obama is going to keep it real, and she has to. But that hurt my feelings when she said they closed the door, and she cried uncontrollably for 30 minutes because she had to hold it in while people berated her and her husband. She can keep it classy. You ain't got to worry about it, Michelle. I will get gutter anytime you need me to, as long as I can be on a podcast. I'll do it for you. They can all go jump in a lake and drown. Don't care. And I'm mad at Obama. He need to take his ass back home with his wife. To stop making face. I don't care nothing about the president. That fool didn't even show up for Biden's. I don't care this tit for tat. We need to be all this. Forget y'all. Forget all y'all. You know what I'm saying? No. Thank you, Michelle. We can go shopping at Target. I don't care what you want to do. But I ain't watching TV.
It's not about
every TV in the house.
It wasn't about tip. I think people need to understand it's about respect. First of all, let me tell you,
they don't have any. You're talking about they don't have any.
No, I'm talking about I know that's the whole point. I agree with you. So let's remind people a couple of things. Okay, you sat there, and this is one of my biggest complaints regarding Barack. There's a time in this situation, I get where people say, and I know people were mad at me at the time, and I'm going to say it again. Yes, there are times where the office comes before the family. I understand those situations. But you're not going to say, when you sat there and let too many things slide by because you're the president and blah, blah, blah. And by doing so, you gave licensing and permission, and people say it's okay to do whatever to people and go on. And think now, yes, you let some things, you got to pick and choose your battles, but there were too many things. You sat there and let them make money designing effigies and selling it on the market all around the U.S. and things and what have you. Did nothing. No investigation or nothing. That's illegal. Okay. It's against the law. That's not freedom of speech. That's illegal.
Mm-hmm.
Sat there, the Magic Negro, they sat there, they made the song. You sat there and let people license and do whatever off your name and make items, gas stations, toys, whatever, stuff off your name and demolish your name like that. They had the article, the New York Times article where the man shot there was the issue of the healthcare, and they shot the monkey, saying the monkey on the ground. People forgot that, the harassment and other things that you said about the woman and the children and everything else in the attacks. They had to increase the Secret Service and things. The woman created, she said, you know what, I'm going to go all in. And other than Kennedy's wife, that everybody keep going to make more and more movies and stories and books about, and dead for I don't know how many years, she had the garden, the Get Fit program, the workout, doing dances in front of the White House and making staff and everybody else getting a Get Fit. And one of the first times in history we saw Black women's health and health of women overall increased. From then on, you saw Black women finally taking the stance of taking care of health. And what did that man do when they first got into office? Dug up her the garden.
Yeah.
Cut some of the other programs and things like that, initiatives. And one of the things that's always been tradition, whether it's a Republican, not whatever, you did not touch the wives programs. Whatever it existed, it existed. Hell, the man got rid of the damn Nancy Reagan's reading damn program. Okay? But you digged up a garden the first week, it said, F you, Michelle.
Yeah.
So there's that. Two, if Michelle, I'm going to tell her something that for those who are the sound of my voice and anybody else, if Michelle was there at that funeral, Barack would never have said a daggone word, but Michelle would never have said that. You say one word for that, that's your A.
Yeah.
And people keep thinking this is a mystery. No, that woman is 2 shakes away, 1 shake away from divorcing Barack. Said it several times. She lost
What?
Yes. He said it in his book, and then she said it. Okay. They have family problems with everything else because of the amount of stress and foolishness that he was going through, and was not considering the family. He didn't even necessarily talk to her about doing this. I'm just gonna do it. So there's a lot to unpack here that she had to put up with. And then look, of course, people gonna say, "Oh, Stevie, here you go, clowning for women, pick me, whatever." Screw you. Let's just get the truth out there. So, and I say this in terms of the amount of disrespect, and give and things like that. This is where my only thing with her is I get it, and why she don't want to be involved in politics because of all of this. I was always said this was the sacrifice that she needed to make. And then what they still keep calling her Michael Obama.
Really?
That shit, yeah. Oh, yeah, that's been a thing for the longest because of she's gay. They couldn't stand the fact that she's a fit woman, a strong woman. All these other different things, and harassing her daughters and trying to protect them now. They harass her daughters more than the drunk daughters from Bush. Let's not forget that. So
they haven't harassed anybody's children except for the Obamas. I haven't heard a story of anybody else's child that was harassed. Who else was harassed?
No, not to the level that Obama's children were, but
that's what I'm talking about. I haven't heard of any of. You wouldn't know that the Bush's children were drunks unless you actually went looking for it. The only children in the history I know that have been harassed are the Obamas. That's what I'm talking about. Like their whole entire family was harassed more. Like maybe the only family that was harassed. Can we go with that?
I know Kennedy's children and family went through a lot, especially after the assassination.
Well, that's after. I'm talking about in office. Tell me other children while somebody was the president that you have that look like how they treated the Obamas. Tell me one.
No. I'm not looking to do the compare. I know what you're saying. I'm not looking to say. I'm not defending the abuse on any children. I'm not defending saying one is more than the other. I'm just saying. Well, I let me take that back. The only ones were. There was only 2 other cases. Of course, they've been and not defending him, but Trump's son, Barrett, whatever. There's been some comments back then when he first started going, some 12 years ago. And then the Bush's daughters. That was a big thing. Now, maybe I noticed it more because of my working in the government and the mess that the Secret Service and other people had to go through, and in the papers in New York and overseas, the harassment. So I may have been a little bit more privy, but those who were involved in media and news and
they were drunks.
No, I'm not denying that they were drunks, though. But just
he is strange. What I'm saying to you, and I hear you, and I know you're going to make these wonderful points. There was no reason, not even that they were ugly children, odd children, drinking children, drugging children, sex. There was nothing wrong with them.
Nothing.
Barron, Barden, whatever. All of them Trump kids look like Beavis and Butthead and other cartoons that I have seen on the Cartoon Network. Yes, I said it. And yes, I'm talking about somebody's kids. Say something. But those girls and that woman, they tried to uphold decency and respect the entire time. And you still coming? You lucky that black woman didn't take their heads off. Yes, she got class and dignity. And he, as a black man, regardless of, and I heard, yeah, maybe they thinking about divorce. You need to be mindful of that's what marriages go through. And that's why she's still his wife.
No, I'm only referencing because she put it out there
in her book. But that's the challenges of marriage.
No, she put it right. But it was I say that in terms of the way I took it in from the interviews and her speaking, it was a release, two, as a lesson for other women in marriages, or this is what goes through, this is what happened, and as a lesson, a story, so you can hold on to something when hopefully you don't, but if you do, here's some of the lessons and things we'll read through and maybe can help encourage you to work through your marriage as they have. That's the way
how you preface that. What you preface it as is that she was about to divorce him. When you are talking about the Obamas, you need to be clear, because people run and take information, and tomorrow you'll see. Michelle was going divorce and not even knowing the context. I'm sorry.
I'm saying that when I brought up the divorce in the context, I'm saying that in terms of just the level of abuse. Okay, politically, before he even was running. Okay, the level of abuse and crap that she went through in Chicago.
Yep.
Okay, before that. Now, for those who do not know the context, okay, Obama was not winning. He was down. He was far down. He was barely scoring. If it wasn't for Jerry Ryan telling the truth, thank the Lord, for a woman stepping up and saying Jack Bryan acted like a goddamn fool, abused me, this, that, and the other. That came out. Jack was out. Obama won by default. And then when Obama got in there, okay, he was 80 to 90% of his votes. He was just saying present. He didn't take a stand. That was my biggest issue back then, and people would say something. Then the whole issue of you gave all the contracts approved to help push. They end up going to a lot of the former mafia, big businesses, whatever. The Chicago shoreline with the businesses, and never went to black business. There was a lot of things that messed up. Okay, he did not do very well, but he was a clean-cut guy. He did his speech at the convention. The rest is history. Okay, but through all of that, the mess that, and she was pregnant through all these times and went through so much sickness and things with this. And so just in 30 minutes, I feel for that woman. I'm not a woman. I'm not going to pretend to be one. Anika will beat me. But I would just say that it would go on. And to feel for a woman, as a man, I recognize that the pain that this woman had to go through to put through all of this. And you want her to, again, there's only so much time you're going to make me swallow my tongue for the sake of whatever decency of king and country. Queen and country. No. And she should not. And damn it, she shouldn't. And I hope she never do. Well, we all know. But she should not have to even explain her damn self.
And she's not going to.
No.
And she's not. And then let me also say in that it's not that something he was going to make her do. When you have a husband, when you are in a unit, you are to work together, even when you don't like it. That is the for better, for worse. So I commend both of them for that, because that's what marriage looks like. Okay, so I think it's wonderful that that people can look at their dynamics, but we need to express that and understand that's what Black love looks like. Instead of finding ways of where Black love might not be good, because she's going against her husband. That's not that. Her husband appreciates the fact that she's a free-thinking, independent woman, and that's why she is his wife. And like when we're talking about Black people, I just think that we should talk about them in a different, endearing way, because it always looks like we're attacking them. And I'm just saying, because I'm sensitive to the Obamas, I want to make sure that we always cover them in love, even because they're not perfect. And he's a politician. They're not perfect, but they have roles. And the fact that she's standing up for what she believes in, I know he appreciates and celebrates that.
Okay, Monte.
So what I will say is that being a Black woman is probably one of the hardest jobs in America. Being a Black woman. And then being a Black woman that's in the spotlight is even harder. So I appreciate the factor that Michelle knows how to do things in a very classy way. She doesn't have to hit below the belt. You know exactly what she means. She says what she means what she says. She just does it in a more poignant way than other women. So I appreciate that about her. I think those 8 years that they were in the office probably were very tough. So if the word divorce ever came up, if challenges ever came up, definitely that's not something that doesn't, would not happen. Just because you were in the White House doesn't mean it's not going to happen. That's what happens in marriages. You got to work through it. You got to keep working on it. And there's some things that some people, they lose the effort in the fight. Of course, they didn't. She was able to make it look good and continue to hold her head high. She was able to continue to, be the matriarch for her family, and hold things together. That's what Black women do. That's what Black mothers do. That's what Black wives do. We are the nurturers of this earth. We hold it together. We hold it together. We can't let them see us fall. We can't let them see us weak. And so for Michelle Obama, I think that she did an excellent job. I think she doesn't owe anybody an explanation of why she doesn't want to go to see Dorito Man become the president of the United States on Monday. Because that damn sure is not looking at the inauguration. Okay. I'm still not calling him my president. Everybody's saying with K-Shit that he's going to be your president. Well, he may be the president, but he's not my president. Okay. So, and I'm just going, like I said, keep my faith in the powers that be. I'm not going to lose my mind and get out of control of what's going to happen. Everybody keeps with they get, every day is getting more theatrical. Oh, we going back to the plantation. Oh, we gonna be picking cotton. Oh, that's gonna take a minute. Okay. So I need anybody out there to do their due diligence. You know what I'm saying? The ear was fake. Let's be real about it. So nonetheless, I have no problems with Michelle Obama not going. And Nancy Pelosi is not going. It's probably a whole lot of people that's not going to be at that inauguration. But let's not focus on Michelle Obama because she's Obama's wife or she's Michelle Obama. Michelle Obama probably has more street cred, judicial cred, business cred, whatever cred all the way across the board than Donald Trump. And she definitely is classy. So Michelle, I'm with you. You don't have to go. Obama, you're doing it to save face. I got it. Somebody got to play the good cop. Somebody got to play the bad cop. Okay, I get it. That's how mamas and daddies do. So he playing the good cop. He probably didn't want to talk to that man at Jimmy Carter's funeral. He didn't. He had 8 years to know how to deal with these people. Okay, just put on a good face. He's not shucking and jiving. It's called survival. It's called called survival. Some battles you pick and choose.
Because we need to see that. As much as I don't like to, because we have to live in the world. We're not going to work with everybody you're not going to like.
Right.
Even, unfortunately, even, just Satan's spawn of Trump. Yes.
Yeah. You got to pick and choose your battles. So you got to know how to save face and just, it's not shucking and jabbing. You're not doing the Bojangles dance. Okay. You just have to do what you have to do to keep the peace and keep it moving. So if they had a small conversation, see, some people don't understand that even though what is going on in America is going to affect everybody's lives, including theirs as well, you have to learn that balance and knowing how to kind of put that to the side. Because there are a lot of people that I know that don't like me and I don't like them. But when I see them, I'm still going to be the person that I need to be.
Who don't like you?
It's a lot of
Who
people out
don't
here that don't like me,
But
but
you
I'm
know what?
but guess what? Guess what?
Give me the name of the number. I'm gonna give it to Anika. She's gonna take them down.
Well, no, a lot of people don't like me either, but I like you, Camonte. A lot of people don't like, so I get it, honey. It's okay.
But the thing of it is that if you don't have any haters, if you don't have haters, and Michelle Obama has plenty of haters. If you don't have haters, then you ain't doing your job. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing it right. So I'm okay with that. So that's why I'm like, I'm okay with that. There's a lot of things that I'm supposed to attend, and I don't put out a press conference or nothing that I'm not going to attend. I just don't show up. And actions speak louder than words. I always tell people actions speak louder than words. And it doesn't mean that I didn't want to come, but it doesn't mean that I had to come. Okay? You just fell out of the chair. It's the truth. It's the truth. If there's no RSVP that I have to sign up for, it doesn't matter if I show up or not, the event is still gonna happen. The inauguration is still gonna happen without Michelle Obama being there. Why are you making a big deal that Michelle Obama is skipping the inauguration? Whoopity doo dah day, so is Nancy Pelosi. What y'all gonna say about that? Come on now. It's a white woman not coming either. The black woman not coming, a white woman not coming. It's a whole lot of people that's not gonna be there. It's gonna be sporadic, just like it was when he had to take
Nancy Reagan didn't show up for a couple of events either, if I recall.
Yeah. I mean, you don't have to look. People have their own way of trying to make sense of the frustration and the mess that's going on in this world, whether it's people, places, or things. So if you have to, if you got to remove yourself then. And if you don't have to show up, you don't have to show up.
Dan Quayle didn't show up for a lot of things either. He's been missing and things. But speaking of people who missing who do show up,
that ain't even a while.
yeah. Speaking of people who've been missing but show up, we have the lovely and wonderful Miss Raw Silk. How are you doing today? Oh, come on. Silk, what's up? Can you hear us?
You have to be there. We need you to chime in on this one. This is the one. I'm glad she's here.
See, I try to set her up. I try to set her up for it, and then she just not hearing us. Oh my God, Silk.
I need her to be here. I need her to chime in.
You know what? I know what to get her to chime in. She didn't have the right color hair today because it's cold. So what's going on?
Don't play with my friend. Don't play with my friend.
She still ain't got on yet? Oh, Lord.
I don't care, but don't play in my friend's face. Don't do that.
Oh, Lord, what's going on?
Where did Miss Camonte go? Okay, so
yeah, Camonte's going.
Okay.
She's here. Silk is still not. Oh, she gone. Yeah.
It's something about when there's three strong black women on this, when I'm on the podcast and I see you in the corner, I'd be like, oh, we about to get you, Steven.
I love it. I'll be like, come on, bring it on. Come on, bring it in. I ain't scared. I never scared. I messed up some people earlier today. I said game recognized game. They sat there like and laughed at me like I was supposed to not know what that means. Come on. Silk, are you there?
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
How's everybody doing this evening?
Doing good.
I would like to even say that I'm fashionably late, but that would be a lie. I'm so tired, y'all. I promise you. I am so tired. So what we talking about that I'm late on? I see Michelle Obama skipping the inauguration. Way to go, sister girls. That's what I'm talking about.
Mm-hmm. Please elaborate.
Okay, listen. Only a queen knows her worth. Okay? And what you're not going to do, you know how we do. What you're not going to do is talk smack about me. You're not going to disrespect my man. You're not going to disrespect my kids. And then think that I'm going to do anything for pomp and circumstance. That ain't going to happen. So to save you from probably getting that beat down, I'm going to just go ahead and stay home and write another book or something. Okay? Plain and simple. I'm not coming. First of all, I wasn't in office, so I don't have to be politically correct. Okay, y'all hold my husband to a standard because, he is the ex-president. So, they took advantage of all of those photo ops that Trump was able to get out of talking at Jimmy Carter's funeral.
Yeah.
What I was mentioning before was that people to forget to reiterate some of the things that how they were selling effigies and hanging them all around the country and stuff like that, which is illegal, of her and her children. Then you had the whole thing of shooting a monkey on the ground, the healthcare, the Magic Negro. They called her and her children monkeys. They call her Michael. The first thing Trump did when he got in office was digged up the dog or stopped the health program to eat food, and digged up her garden at the White House. One of the things that you didn't do over the years is you don't stop other First Wives initiatives and programs because it was always something community health related, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
They don't do their whole power, no, but you do what the hell they say. So it's like the Queen. But you do all of these different things, and you go. I had to be nice one time. I'm not doing it again. And she don't have to explain herself. We played a video clip when you get a chance to replay. And she talked about how hard it was, and I mentioned that this one was 2 shakes away from divorcing because of all this mess. And this was before he got into office. It was just crazy. So, it's just not right. It's not right.
Right. I agree. I'm sorry, Queen. I think that one of the things that I just had a conversation with somebody is that the middle of 2024, almost to the end of 2024, kind of shed a light on a lot of things, right? And one thing that we could thank Cat Williams for is being truthful and transparent, right? And so moving forward, the one thing that I even said in my own life is that, I do that all the time, but I was going to be intentional with who I let occupy my space, my mind space, to take up free rent in my heart and my mind, right? And so I've always had a great amount of respect for Michelle Obama and the way she carried herself with the grace. And to me, she is setting an example. People just can't treat you any kind of way, and then you think that it's okay. To me, for her attending would be a validation that everything that you did is okay. Everything that's come out of your mouth or your supporter's mouth is okay. And so I don't see it as this overly shocking thing. I see it as, from a woman that I have a great amount of respect for, way to go, sis. I see you. And I respect you, because I would do the same thing. I don't go into spaces that I don't feel welcome or that people think that it's okay to talk about me behind my back, and then I give you the opportunity to cheese up in my face or whatever. No, we're not doing that. So I say hats off to her. To be honest with you, I was a little mad that Barack had a conversation with him at the funeral. I would have been like, boy, bye. I'd have turned my back the other way.
Oh, well, that was one of the things I said, that, if she was there, the conversation would never have happened. But I got it that he had to do whatever the thing. And unfortunately, we do live in a world. Obviously, you have to work with people you don't like and have a conversation here and there. So there's that. I'll say this. If you didn't catch a clue, it's not just her. Didn't we all see Kamala sat there and gave the stare of death, like, I would shoot you? And her husband right there was like, I'm ready to pull a knife out and stab this man because for how bad yes, he's white, man. I don't give a damn, man. I appreciate how that man stood by how this wife and stepped and sat to the other side, because I'm quite sure she was tempted to say something, but she looked and turned away. But that man was like, I'm going to beat you for the way you talked about my wife, and went down and say, and even more so, you saw Hillary didn't even bother to look. That was another one. That was a stone cold look.
I think women just LP that we can kind of maybe, just maybe, how they say a picture speaks 1,000 words, but maybe the words that the media was translating when Barack was talking and laughing to, during that moment. He could have been like, man, you a clown. You know what? I can't even be mad because you are who you are. We have all engaged in conversations with people who we know, what I'm saying? And you just like laugh it off because you're just so stupid. I can't even waste time on this. I can't even be mad at you because you're that stupid. You know what I'm saying? Maybe that's what that conversation was like. But, you know, all we get to see is a picture. No one's asked, you know, President Obama what was going through his mind. You know what I'm saying? During that time frame or whatever. It could very well be this brother is stuck on stupid. Like, I just can't. You know what I'm saying? Because that's the look that to me he had on his face.
Yeah, that's looking on his face.
Yeah, because he's like, I can't do this and things like that. I can't do it. It's just like, how does this get along? But you know, it is what it is. One of the things I want to get you to chime in. We got a few more subjects, but we're not going to get to them all because of time. We talked about the lady with the nurse in Virginia that was abusing children, particularly Black children, breaking bones and things. What we outlined some of the things that to help prevent. Stop these things. But what are your thoughts regarding that, ma'am?
Thank you.
I think that number one, we need more people of color in the medical field. I think that that's something that our children shy away from because it requires so much work intellectually and time wise. So I just think that number one, that again, I think you, me, and Anika talk about this in the beginning of last year when I said that I was making a list of all of the people who I seen had supported Trump and everything and making a list. And I specifically said to stop trusting everybody that comes into your room, giving you pills and medications, ask questions. It's a little different for me because when I had my baby, you couldn't take him nowhere. He was in the room. When you wanted to take him to the nursery to do his weight and everything, and said, well, I can walk. Let's just take that, trip together. But I had that luxury. I'm sure things have changed dramatically now in the hospital. I think that there's a group of women that would say, if I could only just get 5 minutes with this chick, right? Because, like, how sad is that? I mean, it broke my heart because I can't, my great niece was, her collarbone was broken by a nurse at birth. She pulled too hard and she knew she did it and then concealed it really, really quickly, right? And we couldn't understand why this baby always screamed so much. So just imagine the pain, right, that those little innocent children could be in. And then we're keeping her in jail for her safety. Really? Like, the world is just like so twisted and jaded. And then there's people out there that's saying, well, no, this is mental health. It didn't have anything to do with race. But I have yet to see a white family come forward to say that their children's legs or anything was done. All of these children that I'm seeing are minorities. They need to put her underneath the jail. There is no redemption. There is none of nothing or whatever. I'm just blown away. I'm just blown away by that. And I think that the hospital should absolutely be brought on some charges because this has been going on for a long time. Keep in mind, this just came to light. And I think the thing that I hate is that they talk about it, but they sweep under the rug the fact of the children that were killed by this same person. They have not charged her, but she has murdered babies. Okay, they have said so, but they have not charged her yet. And they keep saying the investigation is ongoing. Say again?
She's charged now.
Oh, okay. And it's sad. I mean, I don't know what the other queens had to say, but just as a mother, all I can say is there will be nowhere she can hide. I promise you. Because I remember how my family swooped down on the nurse when we found out that she dislocated my niece's collarbone at birth. So I can't even imagine knowing somebody deliberately hurt your child, deliberately, willingly, and then went home like nothing. And the hospital knew about this. That's mind blowing to me.
I didn't. and say anything about it. Echo. It's coming in. Okay, yeah. It's just it's crazy for all what they were saying about it and just letting it go by. The other issue that we talked about is the case of Jahnay Bryan. Unfortunately, a former Cornell student moved to LA, randomly emailed her ex-boyfriend, let's get married. I want to be in the industry. No one knows what's going on. She was separated from, had an estranged relationship from her mother. The mother's not part of the search. She wants to stay out the public eye. The boyfriend knows nothing. Gave the information to the cops. I don't know nothing. And that's it. Her sister is on the news fighting, trying to find out what's going on. She's been on News Nation, anywhere that will see her. And also there's the case of the pretty, of course, Hawaiian, I'm not sure if she's biracial or not, but I know the Hawaiian part of the lady. And of course, the news is trying to not say it, but obviously missing woman, not anything else. And they got the now ebony alert out in California for situations like this. Are you familiar with the case, Miss Silk?
No, I was listening to you intrigued. I'm not familiar with the case, but the one thing that I am familiar with is that Black women and women of color go missing in the United States of America all the time, and it's never been a priority, even with our children. When Caucasian children disappear, we get Amber Alerts. When Black children and brown children disappear, we get, are you sure they didn't run away? Okay. So it's a huge problem that's been going on for quite some time. And I think until we get to the point that we can support each other and uplift each other and be outraged collectively at the same time, unfortunately, it's going to keep happening, over again. I lift those families definitely in prayer. I hope and pray that the sister is, found in her right mind and healthy. But I could just only go back to, right here in Richmond, Virginia. I think we all agree that if people would have paid attention and been outraged and supported, maybe Keisha would have been found and brought back home alive. And so we have to, it's so heartbreaking because to hear you say that word, ebony alert, like we had to develop our own separate alert just to get some attention. That's sad. That's truly, truly sad.
It is. Also, and there's a perfect timing that all three of you on here now. Another water pipe from the waste treatment side busted in Richmond a couple of days ago. Did not get as much attention, but now it's caused some problems because a lot of people, especially with itchy skin, in which I was telling people that, hey, still give it another week to boil water and things. And sure enough, pipe busted and filtration is still not being done at its optimal. It's not working optimally. And optimal efficiency. Silk, I know you've heard a little bit about it. Your thoughts on it?
This is what I just was late from. So this thing is such a disaster because this is like, if you don't know about the banana in the tailpipe, okay, this thing right here, they knew that this system was obsolete. They knew that it had aged out. They knew that they had kept patching together. There's not one person that's listening to the sound of my voice or that's on this call that hasn't worked for some intelligent idiot that thinks they know better than the people that's boots on the ground, right? So we tell them that you got to spend a couple of $100, you got to do this, you got to do that. And they go, well, instead of spending $2,000, go ahead and spend $50,000 and do this. They just cut corners all the time. That's corporate America for you, right? And then they want to act surprised when the Band-Aid come off or whatever. This thing, because that's my background, and Mr. LP, we had this conversation. I said, this ain't nothing but poor maintenance, poor preventative maintenance, and the lack thereof. I think the sad thing out of this is that we knew that the sister was going to get scapegoated, right? We knew right off the bat. I was like, okay, well, I hope she sends out her resume because they're going to scapegoat her and fire her. They fired her, but they didn't fire her boss, the person who makes the decision, right? Go figure. It's no surprise. And the thing about it is, Richmond, Virginia, for it to be the cap city, is one of the most mismanaged, disorganized, backwards ass towns that I've ever been in my life. Nothing gets done until it becomes a crisis. I just say this is the only place that I know is that they got a homeless crisis, but they keep letting people get evicted. They got an eviction crisis. They got a health crisis, but they got people living all over the street, doing bodily fluids and all over the. It's just absolutely crazy to me, and it's like they don't never have truthful and transparent conversation. They use all of these high-end buzzwords that say absolutely nothing, and the people fall for it. So no, I'm not surprised. There's a whole bunch of stuff around here. The thing that I've said, we know that anybody that drives on I-95 South, you pass that plant, and in the summertime, you cannot stand the smell. You can smell it through, and it should not smell like that. But it becomes the norm for us, right? We are so accustomed to it that we don't question it. You get people every day that you talk to that say, oh, I never drink City of Richmond water. I never drink the water because it stains the toilet, or it smells funny, or it looks cloudy, right? And so we are surprised. I think the biggest victims here is Henrico County, who had no clue that they was getting water from the city of Richmond all of this time. A lot of people in Henrico had no clue that their water was coming, so they thought that they were good, and they're not good. And so I think that this thing is going to, right, it's going to be ongoing. You have a report. Right now, we keep getting the bells and whistles that they're going to do a forensic investigation on what happened. You know exactly what happened. The EPA told you what happened. Okay, so all that does is translate into you're going to get some high-end company to come in that you're going to pay a sugar load of money to give some 200 and something page report that y'all will announce we got the report. And then you're going to throw it in the office somewhere in City Hall with all of the other reports that's gathering dust that y'all have done absolutely nothing with. This is crazy to me.
Well, the head of DPU resigned. I'm a little flustered with that. Why didn't she just get fired?
Don't get fired. Don't get it twisted. She got fired. Okay, in corporate America, you know as well as I do, you can resign. You voluntarily resign, or you get fired. And if you're trying to protect your pension and benefits and all kinds of other stuff, you go ahead and you step down or whatever. If they try to make it seem like it was of her own accord, trust me. We all know that was not, we knew, those of us that was paying attention knew that when you didn't see her at the press conferences, I was like, she's so fired. They're going to either let her voluntarily resign or they're going to fire. So she decided for option number one. That's it.
Yeah.
That's all that was. It was about my pension.
Yeah. Yeah.
Who did you say?
Now we're calling for you. What are your thoughts to join in on that?
Oh, this water crisis. I'm so I just think it's just one more thing in those things that we're just going to find out. Like I'm sorry. I have been living in Virginia and near Richmond for a long time, and it always stank when I came up the highway. And if that is the thing that was producing the water that was stinking like that, no, I don't want to drink the water either. But here's, at the end of the day, this is not one person who resigned's fault. And it's a shame that we're still using scapegoats and not fixing the problem and still going to have this issue going on. So it's America. This is America at its greatest right now. If we can't keep people safe and worry about, you know, how they're able to just drink basic water that's just free, or have the tools that have been given to them to learn how to do these things because they're worried about greed, just buckle up. I'm not shocked. I'm not shocked at the fires. I'm not shocked at the water. I'm just sitting, and I am just going to continue to just stay in my faith and stay and keep going, because that conversation, we can talk about that water all day long. If it never gets fixed, it's still a problem. Like she said, if they're going to throw a report in the back of the room and still let the same people run this corporation just so they can line their pockets, they don't care. And I'm tired of talking about how much people don't care about basic human needs and rights.
And Mr. LP, if I could piggyback off of the Queen, the other thing to think about, like, is, like she said, okay, so the water crisis is still going on in Flint. You know what I'm saying? Okay, and everybody was up in the uproar. This is just our version of it. We're talking about, we're celebrating that someone lost their job, right? One of the things that aggravates me is ignorance, right? So we're listening to people going, well, she wasn't experienced anyway, and she didn't have and I'm looking at people going, I'm gonna need you to look in the mirror and let me know if you were truly experienced for the job that you lucked up and got. Okay, because some people are in positions that it was just because their mother, father, uncle, or somebody knew somebody, you belong to a certain fraternity or sorority, you know, something or whatever and stuff. So I don't think that we need to go down that gray area. My logic is I've said it a long time ago. If you are in a job and you can do the job, okay, who sets the barometer of qualifications anyway? Because there's some people that are just genuinely could go in and excel anywhere they go. And then there's some people who have all the degrees on their wall. They done went to the edge and they still dumb as dirt and still don't know anything on their job. I don't think it's a celebration moment. I think the focus should be what happened and why it happened and what are you going to do to make sure that it doesn't happen again. The other thing that we always have to pay attention to is there is racism in utilities. And a lot of people don't realize that, okay? We need to be paying attention to these things. I'm not saying that this was a racist act, but what I'm saying is the response and how it's handled is because to me, we all know that this situation was going on hours before it was reported, right? And stuff. But if you notice, Henrico is the one making all the noise. Henrico is the one that's doing all the stuff and getting everything organized and whatever. And the other thing that Richmonders need to pay attention to is, and they need to be talking to their council people, is we don't want to be paying the cost of your mistake. And what I mean by that is because you best believe there's lawsuits coming out of this. You best believe that Henrico, Hanover, Goochland, and all of them is coming to the city of Richmond for reimbursement for the monies that they lost, that their constituents lost, that had to be paid back, right? So where do you think this money is going to come from? They're going to try to tax the taxpayers by raising something or doing something. The other problem is that why aren't people mad and not calling the governor and saying, hey, Mr. Governor, you called the state of emergency. Why didn't you call FEMA in? Why didn't you get FEMA here? Because it fit the protocol. Okay, all he had to do was make the call.
I want to tell you, because the majority of the people that were affected were people of color. Eastern, South Side, even the ones that may be doing a little bit financially better, they're on the eastern side of Henrico and Verina. Okay, and then also Mechanicsville, low income white people of Hanover also was getting the water and things. Those that are affected were low income and people of color. We all know that this was more on the western side of Richmond, not North Chesterfield, but South Chesterfield or Henrico. This FEMA would have been out like anything else. It's just like, look, What's that school down off of Broad Rock or the elementary that have been damaged for years? Everything else, kids being busted and split across trailers all over the place. Nothing. Nobody cared. But let that daggone Silver Fox elementary school burnt down, and Richmond City didn't have the money. This is going to take a few years. What happened? They got $30 million from the local people and constituents real fast, and because they did not want those kids keep busing over to the extra open school on South Side with all the other black kids. Oh no, we're not gonna have our kids go to school with them. And then on top of that, church over there, the Boulevard, and told them you can't have services no more during the week. We're going to have our kids go to school here. Mm-hmm. So it was designed like that, and it wasn't. Again, until recently, within the last 4 to 5 years, because all the development downtown, Richmond was 72% black. So why? We didn't care. When it's only when they built up everything else and things like that now, our water system's bad, this is bad, whatever bad. They didn't care. This is why they just now trying to clean up the Chamberlain Avenue. They had they didn't care as long. We all know all the side streets, whatever, the water, this and another, all nice, but the main strip was terrible. They didn't care because we dominated there. It's the same thing. Why we don't have enough doctors and everything on South Side, but you put the most harmful plants for breathing problems on South Side than the East End. I mean, it's right there. In fact, they admitted into the books. They admitted that they did this. So, I mean, it is what it is. They knew what was going on, and he does not care. Okay, Monte?
So for me, I will just say that I'm a citizen of Richmond, born and raised here. I have never in my life experienced some of the things that are coming to be now. I think that it's just a due diligence that we need to be more aware and just more vocal about what should be important to us, and that's the right to drink clean water, and the right to be able to to walk the streets without seeing the deprivation that's going on. It just seems like a lot is just not being done. And I'm hoping that our new mayor is really going to stand on business and basically alleviate some of the burdens that are part of the city of Richmond, who have been, upholding wrong. Corroded batteries when a generator should be the second step. That like as soon as he heard that it should have been, she was fired. She shouldn't have even been given an option to be able to keep her pension, because that's a very serious job. That's millions of people or hundreds of thousands of people whose life is at stake with drinking contaminated water. So I just feel like we are going to see how strong this new mayor is going to be, because he's going to have to clean house in a lot of areas with the city of Richmond. And so the DPU is his first stop. I need you to keep it going, sir, because there's DSS as well. You need to take stock in all of that, because there is a lot of mess that's going on with the city of Richmond and has been tolerated, and and I feel like there's a rhythm with the city of Richmond with keeping people in office or with jobs that don't care. And I just hope that he's here to do the job. I hope he's strong to carry it. DPU's the first stop. Next stop.
Okay, but Queen, so this is so funny that you say that, because who was in charge of DSS? Him.
Well. So
right, and he was in charge of the Department of Social Services for the city of Richmond.
Okay, so I I thought it was Medicaid.
Yeah, no, he was in charge of the Department of Social Service. And what Richmond keeps forgetting, how poorly he handled the COVID situation for people of color, too. And so that's why I said I give him the benefit of doubt. Okay, don't get me wrong. I want to be clear. I give him the benefit of the doubt, but I'm also watching you with a third eye. Okay, because the thing is, I feel sorry for him that he fell into this situation, but I don't believe that you didn't know about this situation. Okay, I do, because when you were campaigning, you were adamant about infrastructure and what that looked like, and so on and so forth. Okay, so you knew that there was a Band-Aid, like you said, Queen, on a bunch of different departments that needed to, you know what I'm saying, pay attention. I agree with you that I do believe that he needs to clean house. And I also believe that the people need to start holding their mayor accountable, because y'all last mayor checked out. And the reason why I say y'all is because I do not live in the city of Richmond. I do all of my work in the city of Richmond. I advocate hardest for the city of Richmond, sometimes more than the people who live in the city of Richmond. But to have my, I had to get my grandbabies live in the city. I need to make sure that they're okay. And it's like, just like today, I went to a council meeting where once again, here we are 5 years later, talking about wanting to develop a plan on how to attack homelessness. I sat on the Homeless Advisory Council in 2020. We gave y'all the recommendations, like, what the world? You still haven't done anything. So now you want to start from ground zero all over again? It makes absolutely, we need action. We don't need to keep having conversations and talk and reports and things. We need action. I should not have to come down to City Hall to let you know that it's inhumane for people to be sleeping outside and it's 19 degrees outside.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I come from a city that as soon as it gets that cold, you don't have a choice. You either get rounded up and go to jail or you go to the shelter. It's not a choice. But guess what? They don't even have a shelter. But then you want to entertain conversations, $1 million for a new dog shelter? Like, I just don't, I get so frustrated. And then the people in this city need to stop voting. Listen, if I like you, I'm going to invite you to my cookout. You might even get an invitation to my vow renewal. What I'm not going to do is keep putting you in office and not seeing no results. We keep voting for the same people on name recognition and because they deliver turkeys or they have parties for us and things of that nature. But there's no results that's going on. Why are these people still in office and have the right to say, oh, I've been doing this for 20 years? That's not something I would brag about.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to hold him accountable then. I need him to clean house in every department the city of Richmond has, because there's a whole lot of foolishness going on with the city of Richmond. Meal tax, everything. Things going on, financing, all of that. It's time to hold everybody accountable. And if you're gonna be a part of the problem, or you're gonna be a part of the solution. Which one? You're right. We do need to step up and hold him accountable. We do need to make sure that everything we are watching, we are being the commentary for it, to put fire up under his butt to do the right thing.
Anika?
I'm really just I agree with both of the queens. I guess I'm in a space of we've got to get people where they need to be. But it just can't be one person doing that. It just can't be 3 people talking about it. It's got to be pushing other people to care about getting better care and to demand respect for themselves. How do we do that? How do we get other people that don't have the same name in office? How do we do that? That's what I'm confused about. I don't know why it's these individuals can keep holding these spaces and get paid to do these functions, and nothing is functioning. And even so much as just shelters, there's too many empty buildings and too many people that sleep behind grocery stores, and we have to brainstorm on how to fix that. We have to brainstorm on how to unlock a door and utilize some of this money not for these wonderful establishments that you can throw up in a couple of days. We can't get some mattresses. We can't get some code. We can't get people out there to go fix up all the buildings in Richmond. One, just to house maybe women and children. If you don't want to house everybody, people are sleeping outside in 39 degrees and we're driving past them and it's okay. It's bigger than these small departments. Where the hell is the humanity? Where is that? Where is it that you care? You should never want to see people not be hungry or people not have clothes or because you think maybe they didn't work hard or maybe they got a mental health illness that they need to suffer in certain conditions. Like I'm tired of talking about electing anybody and regular people just can't be humane.
Right.
So I'm sorry. That's my take, but I feel like all night long I have just been going at it. So I'm trying to pull it back before the end of the night. So
and that's not a problem. Well, ladies, we're about that time. I thank y'all very much for the conversations and things for all of this. Since we're up against it and past our time, could y'all give me your final thoughts of anything, about 45 seconds or less?
Well, I need people to understand on Monday, it's not the end of the world. It's the beginning of your faith. Do not fall victim to what is getting ready to happen. Just continue to live your life. Do the best that you can. Do not, I repeat, do not fall victim and get scared. Please don't, because fear opens up so many other doors. I'm not looking at the inauguration. I can only put out there that hopefully you won't look at the inauguration. Don't be a part of the circus. Okay? Don't be a part of the circus. Be a part of the solution on how we can get this man up out of office or what we need to do to hold each other up during this monstrosity of a judicial system that we have, of a electoral college rights and of voting, everything, all of the above. Let's not be the monkey in this show. And I'm being very literal when I say that. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Anika?
I just want to say, I just want people to get back and just evaluate themselves about who they are and where they want to be. There's really not even a discussion to tell people not to watch the inauguration. I don't even know what's going on next week. What I do know is I'm going to live day to day. And I am going to continue to be as abrupt and ugly as I possibly can if you come trying to feed me some bullshit about the next 4 years. I'm not doing nothing. So I am going to make sure I take care of my community where I can help and stuff like that. But this higher level of politics, they can, they can kick rocks with flip-flops on. I don't care. But yeah. I want on this side, I want you to continue to kind of extend love. I know that sounds crazy. You're probably going, what? No, extend love in the places that love can be accepted. Stay true to yourself and do not, for any reason, let anybody disrespect you. Stand on business. Have some integrity. It's okay. When you see something wrong, say something. Don't be scared and stand up for not only your people, for other people who can't stand up. That's what we're going to need to do these next 4 years. And do not lose sight of God or whatever it is that you believe in. That's what I believe you need to stand on. So good night.
Silk?
Miss Silk checked out.
Somebody said Jesus. Trump, she checked out.
Oh boy. Lord have mercy. First off, thank y'all ladies, all of you, those who watched, those who commented. Thank you for your patience, especially any technical viewing issues and things like that. Hopefully you found some information, some inspiration, some clarity, some understanding, found love, found happiness, released, some information to pass along to your children and your loved ones and family and friends. We try to provide as much as we can, and that's the hallmark of our show. We're not here for the awards and recognition, that goes on Anika's shelf, but for the rest of us, we do it because we really care and we love you. Also, in addition to this, that it does take a lot to keep these things going, and I'm shamelessly plugging and have no care, don't mind sponsoring us, supporting us, a donation, whatever you may feel comfortable with. Please go to our Patreon page, patreon.com/Enliven Global Media. We also have our Cash App, #IMMRLP. Our Zelle is our enlivengm@gmail.com. Hopefully, you can find it in your heart, $1 to wherever it may be. We do take $1 million, but right now we're grateful for $1 or $2. It takes a lot. Kemonte like steak and lobster. Anika, she just, I can't be seen with her other than a podcast. I have just to go to her door and just give her the money and walk away. And now she's really picky. I have to give her singles now. So I need help to keep this show going and things. It does cost. So please assist if you're able to can. Also, we have our webpage, enlivengm.com. We're working on updating to get that out as well. If you have any questions, comments, concerns, please also feel free to shoot a message, send us an email, post on the comments. We do read them. We do follow back up. Please share the podcast as well. I want people to understand one thing, that change is inevitable. But also what needs to change that is inevitable is how you react to it. And staying firm. We can fight, we can complain, we can do a bunch of different things. Now, I am no fun looking for this inauguration. Unfortunately, me being the media person, because I like to have information to let people know what's out there. Not that they should not know, but I like for people to know what's out there and what they know what's going on so people can take care of themselves. What was said in clarity, I do keep up with that just as due diligence as a media individual, but outside of that, nothing else. And don't got to go to DC. I do suspect there's going to be, I can tell you right now, there's going to probably be a Klan rally. Let's put it out there what we already know. There's going to be a Klan rally. I wouldn't be surprised if that man's sitting on a throne, they march him out there, and the Ku Klux Klan is waving flags next to him. He's happy as can be.
No.
But, I would not be surprised. It's not like that hasn't been done before. But at the end of the day, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nika.
You're not going to know, Stephen, because you're not going to turn on the TV, because we don't care how journalistic you are. You're not going to know anything but an update, right, Stephen? Say it with us now, because you're not allowed to watch it either.
That's right.
I'm putting my foot down as a man, and I'm going to do it. I'm going to put my foot down and turn the TV off and watch an update. So,
there you go. That's what we are. Okay.
Yeah, please don't support that. That's
not right.
Yeah, don't get tricked, y'all. Don't get tricked.
No, listen. You're not gonna listen. I'm not buying the gold shoes and sneakers, okay? But I need people to understand that we have to start growing and working at ground zero. This is a Renaissance period, and part of a Renaissance period is always enlightenment and education. And you're not going to go any further unless we do that. And it's more than just sitting there and passing a grade in a test. It's a lot more. We have to demand more of ourselves. We need to graduate our high schools. Nobody, college, trade, whatever it may be for your business, that's fine. But everybody should at least graduate high school and have a couple of trades graduating. It's a different world, different time. What worked in the 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, and even in the 90s will not working today. We have to adjust as time goes. But what does not adjust is should not change is your moral values and how you and stand up for your family, what needs to be done. I ask that everybody please stay warm. It's cold out there. Regardless if you got a hat, cover your neck. It's cold out there. And yes, there are some people that, you don't want to bring them in your home because they cause all types of problems and things like that. And I get it. But at the end of the day, cold is cold. Heat is heat. And at the end of the day, it may not come now, it may not come later, but your blessings will come. Open that door. If nothing else, let somebody get a hot meal in a shower or something like that and go on about the way. Let's demand to have more of our shelters. There's all these schools that's like need to be fixed or whatever. There's obviously we got a lot of empty schools around the nation, and at least warm them up. We should not be paying for electricity for schools. Our cities need Richmond, Flint, and there's 47 other cities that have a major water crisis around the country. It just needs to stop. And only way it's going to get better until we start electing the people that do care and that can make change. And it's not about their ego and not about their wallet.
Mm-hmm.
And you say it's not out there, they're out there. It's only if you're willing to open your eyes out and work with each other and not worry about who's getting the credit. What's going to get credit is your salvation and your family down the line in the future. That's the credit. And prayerfully, down the line, the man upstairs sees fit to let you join his home. Thank you, everybody. Stay with me, ladies, but everybody else, thank you so very kindly. And may you have a warm and blessed day. Bye-bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.